Okay, welcome to the April 21st meeting of the South Kingstown Recreation Commission. We'll start the meeting tonight at 6:36 on Monday, April 21st. We'll call this meeting to order. Present from the commission, we have John Hanson, Joanne Blessing, Sean Johnson, and myself, Will Litvin, and absent tonight is Matthew Frazier. And from staff, we have Terry Murphy and Lenka Kavik, and absent is Rex Eberly. Did any of the commission members have a chance to review the March 17th meeting minutes? And if so, would you like to move said minutes?
I did review them briefly, and I would make a motion to approve them.
Okay, motion by Joanne.
I can second that.
Second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, we do have some correspondence and public comment, but if it's okay with the commission members, we'd like to move, well, actually, part of our correspondence and public comment is an email from Lisa Beth Sanford asking for the BPAC, which is the Bicycle Pedestrian and Advisory Committee. I'm sorry, I was going to say commission, to be placed on our meeting agenda, which we have done. And if we don't have any objection, we'd like to move new business item A up to the top for tonight, which is the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee representative and discussion regarding their wayfinding throughout the town of South Kingstown.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So as I'm here from BPAC, and a few years ago we created a bicycle pedestrian master plan, working with Green and Complete Streets and Safe Streets for All as part of the newer connection of that. But one of the things that sort of sparked in my personal being part of BPAC and why I'm there is wayfinding throughout town through trails, side streets that are safer for people to walk on, bicycle paths, parks, and connecting the neighborhoods in that way. So keeping bicycles and pedestrians off the main corridors of traffic. That's sort of, that way you get safer streets for all. And I thought, who else to work with other than the rec committee, who want healthy people biking and walking throughout the town, I would hope, and who have an idea of most of the parks and the trails that are already there and where we can make short linkages to connect all of these neighborhoods, parks, and things happening in town. Even places like Main Street, connecting them all so that people can get there without having to take a car. So with that being said, first of all, what are your thoughts towards that?
I think it sounds like a great idea.
Oh, good.
Personally, I could not be more excited about this.
Great, that's wonderful. Now, the other thing is I have not yet spoken with one-on-one with Councilperson Wedgemont, because he has another plan that he wants to work on too, which goes, so I'm just starting the gathering of the people, because I know we can't do this without support of everyone.
Yeah, I heard there was the town council passed a motion to explore, what was it, a connection from the north side of Route 1, pedestrian bike connection from the north side of Route 1 to the south side in order to access the town beach, which is under our purview.
Yeah.
But I think it was just an exploratory
Yes.
motion at this point, Terry?
It
Or?
was, and it was referred to the BPAC.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
you guys
we
will be
have-
hearing about
Council
it.
meeting.
And we haven't had our monthly meeting yet, so we haven't gotten that together yet. But it was amazing when we looked at the agenda there and it's like, oh, that's exactly what we want to do. You know? So I know there are ways of doing this, and one of the things that I'm thinking is the neighborhoods and asking if it's a possibility to do meetings in the parks in the neighborhoods for this type of gathering.
Yeah, so I mean, I could definitely say that, the Recreation Commission has always been supportive of, connecting spaces for bike and pedestrian use, especially spaces under our purview. The one thing just to kind of keep in mind is that we do have purview over signage in parks, on the bike path and trail systems that are managed by our department, the Parks and Rec department, but not pertaining to town right-of-ways. So that's completely outside of our purview. So we can definitely get behind the initiative with our support, and obviously discuss anything having to do with inside of, say, the bike path, the existing bike path, or the parks that as they stand now.
Okay.
So that's sort of where we're at.
And then the idea of the signage to me was a big one, because there are people who are like, oh, just get an app. You can do Google Walks or something like that, and that works. But if we can, this is further down the way, like probably a couple years down the way in my mind. But if it can go faster than that, great. But once we figure out where the connectors are, we can maybe figure out an easy, low cost to no cost marking, like trail markings on the road or something like that. So say if you're going to the high school, that would be a yellow marking at different places with little arrows on the ground, so that, but to me that's pretty low cost. And if you're going to the library, that might be a green marking to the library, or maybe you know how to the shore little round things that the Girl Scouts were putting on by the grates. Yes.
Water flows to the ocean.
Yeah, something like that, which would be a lower cost than having the big signs, and the people who need to see them can, because they're walking or riding their bike. But the people who are in cars don't necessarily see them or pay attention to them, because they're looking for the signs in the cars, the bigger signs.
I'm just wondering, as you're kind of explaining this, I remember having, is it Ken Burke?
Yeah.
Come to multiple commission meetings, maybe a couple years ago now, Terry, right?
Oh, yeah.
Presenting BPAC, and also I guess the kind of drive to incorporate your initiatives into a town master plan or a
That's
comprehensive
correct.
plan, which I would assume could include a lot of this markings and signage. I mean, he had big plans. He kind of showed us a lot of really great stuff, really pertaining to, I think at that point it was Tower Hill Road, Old Tower Hill Road.
And that is, yes, and this is just a small sliver of the master plan right here. This is what I've done. This is the part of the master plan that I've glommed onto, because the master plan is an amazing document that we are working with still. So that's
Great.
And it's been accepted by the town, but it's let's see, what was the exact terminology that they tell me to say? I'm very horrible about this. The master plan is completed and presented to the town and acknowledged in February 2022. So that's when you saw us, because we really wanted to get it acknowledged and out there and used, because no plan is good if it's not being used.
Yeah.
And this is part of the usage of the plan.
Well, definitely appreciate you bringing it to our attention. And I mean, it sounds great, obviously, in theory at this point. To answer your question about utilizing any of the park spaces or our amenities for meetings, we have a lot of different venues that are available to anyone, really, to meet or reserve, low cost to no cost. And of course, we do have requests for complete fee waivers for certain, like if you wanted to meet at, say, the Tuckertown Park Pavilion, I'm just throwing something out there, so, just be in touch with the department and Terry, and I'm sure that could be a possibility, and that could be another element of our support for this.
Wonderful. Now, completely different thing that our committee president asked me to ask about, and that is, have you had coordination with RIDOT on Kingstown Road and the new ADA sidewalks? No? Okay.
No, they've kind of just come in and started working.
I can speak to that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Terry, sorry.
No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, the town obviously is well informed for what RIDOT is doing, but in terms of the Old Mountain Field project, the entirety of that first phase of the project is within the confines of the park. So from the fence line, which is the steel barred fence at Kingstown Road out onto the sidewalk, is not part of the project that we're dealing with within the confines of the park. Although what they've done is very helpful.
Oh, good.
In terms of the future for what it will look like to access the park from Kingstown Road, that they're now, because the long-term plan with Old Mountain Field is to have more accessibility from an ADA perspective of pathways that connect all of the features within the park, and part of that starts with the sidewalk.
Yep.
And the crosswalks, and so what they've done is helpful.
That's
I mean,
wonderful.
if
to
we
hear.
had more money, we'd love to do a lot more, but replace all the sidewalks and, change the fence out and widen the entrance. But anyway, that's
And so
where
what
we're
they've
at.
done is not anything that you have to rip apart to
No,
make
that
it
will
to
not
what
have
you
to
want
be touched
beautiful.
for this phase of the Old Mountain Field project.
Great. So thank you for letting
Yeah.
me be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate your work and hope to see you again soon.
Well, we'll be back.
Okay.
And we appreciate your work.
Keep in
In
touch.
fact, we all use it all the time.
Great.
So that's a good thing. I want to hear what you guys are saying.
Yeah, do you guys want to add to?
So we're actually from the Wakefield Village Association.
Yeah.
And just here to answer questions regarding our permit.
Yeah, which is next. We're not going to put you after the monthly financial report, I promise.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming. All right, good stuff. With that said, we will move up new business item B, which is a special use permit and rental fee waiver request by the Wakefield Village Association for the use of Saugatucket Park for river fire events on June 19th, July 17th, August 21st, September 18th of this year. And we have some representatives of the Wakefield Village Association to explain what's going on with us tonight. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
So yeah, if you wouldn't mind just kind of stating for the record your name and any comments you'd like to make pertaining to your request.
Sure. So I'm Sarah Breslin. I'm the social media coordinator and secretary at the WVA. And Jennifer Knock is with us today.
Yep.
She's
Vice
the vice
president.
And we're here to discuss the river fire permit and everything we want to do over there for the 4 dates this summer. Different from past years, we are not going to be doing it consecutive weeks. We're going to be doing it once a month and making it bigger and better and a much more community-centric event. So we're looking to have food trucks, bands, a full artisan and craft vendor display, and just engage the local community in multiple avenues.
Yeah. And we're working with the contemporary theater as well, so the stage at the CTC is going to be part of River Fire as well, and then we'll have children's events or children's activities in Sanctuary as well.
So in the past, it hasn't included the Saugatucket Park.
Correct.
So this is
Not
what's new,
officially,
right?
yeah.
Now
Yes.
okay. And the food trucks and stuff would be there, or are you thinking?
In the park.
More in the, okay.
Yes.
Sounds fun.
Terry, would you like to chime in for us?
Sure. For the commission's information, Rex and I met on site with members of the WVA, and you were both there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There were, I think the whole board was there, which was great, and we did walk through the park. One of the goals with Saugatucket Park and the rehab of it over the last couple of years is really to be able to make it a place that could really connect downtown. And with removal of the fence line and the brush and redoing the pathway and the basketball court, it has really opened up the park, and it has drawn in Main Street nicely to the High Street side. So in that regard, this type of activity is very synergistic with the park and what it's meant for community, engagement. And we did talk about food trucks, making sure there were a limited number, that there's care to be had with placement of food trucks, and making sure the grass in the park doesn't, get torn up, and also with the number of artisans that would be in the park. You may recall with the 300th anniversary, the park has a pretty good capacity for dozens of little pop-up tents with different things going on. I think the board mentioned up to 20 pop-up tents within the park, and these run 3:30 in the afternoon till 9 at night, I believe.
Would the
On
food
a
trucks have to be on the grass? Is
no,
that-
No, they can be on the asphalt path. Yeah. So, because the path is
Is
now
it wide
wider
enough?
than,
So
it's wider than it was.
I mean, they're gonna have to go over the grass to some respect to get onto the.
Yeah, and I think
path.
if Rex were here, he'd probably say,
Yeah.
because he did not object to it. I mean, we bring our trucks on the grass when they go in and maintain. So it's just, we can't have daily use of trucks rolling in and out of the park, but once a month, as long as the park's not saturated, it can withstand some
Right.
bit of traffic. And
So,
they're
I mean, is-
stationary, they're not going anywhere once they're in the park.
Because I'm just wondering if there could possibly be a bit of a contingency plan if there is rain before one of the days. I mean, there's been so much care to kind of rehab the park to date. We would hate to kind of have, the trucks make me a little nervous. But, I mean, is the idea to draw people onto the park area for the food as opposed to kind of have them lining, I guess you'd had in the past vendors kind of lining the back parking lot along Saugatucket River on the Main Street side. And then, so tell us how the vision is different for this year, maybe a little bit,
Sure.
as far as the setup.
Yeah, so we want to pull people into the park with both music, food, and the vendors. So we want to move everything over to Saugatucket Park for that purpose, essentially. We wanted more space to host more artisans, to have bigger musicians play there, and the opportunity to have food trucks there, which we've never done before, so that people can circle between High Street, the park, and Main Street to create that full connection. So as far as like a contingency goes with the food trucks, if it's saturated, if for some reason we're afraid of damaging the grounds, I don't see a problem with putting the food trucks somewhere else, even in the parking lot where we have normally set up the vendors, so long as the restaurants are okay with it.
Yeah, I guess another option might be the elementary school parking lot as well.
Yeah, which is outside of our purview, but I was sort of thinking maybe that could be a backup plan right there, right at the top.
Yeah.
Seems natural to be able to come in and come out, and especially for
Yeah, there's certainly, I
you know.
don't see, this could change, but I don't see, a lot evolving over the next 2 months. Even if a decision is made
Yeah.
that there is going to be something done with that property, that I just can't imagine that's gonna happen before the end of August.
because part
So,
of yeah.
We have
I'm
that
sorry.
potential opportunities for utilization of the parking lot.
Because not to like screw up like the plan as far as how you want the people flow to be, but part of the improvements to Saugatucket Park and that asphalt strip is also accessibility for folks that may not be able to travel easily over grass and stuff like that. So just want to be sensitive to that and see how best use could be made while still honoring what it is that you guys are trying to create.
Yeah, so I think in terms of accessibility, probably the parking lot on the other side of the river might be a better place.
But of course we could let Rex
For
chime
food
in and
trucks.
maybe kind of come up with a best plan.
Accessibility wise, you have those spots down the hill as you come in on the Wakefield Elementary side, those are actually handicap spots. So there is that sort of the accessibility piece. I think the bridge and area is not really accessible, I don't think, especially when you get over past Sorry
It's a ramp.
Station up so that's paved all the way down to.
Yeah, it is
okay.
accessible now. Yeah.
My question actually is about rain or shine. Is this rain or shine? Or
Yes, it is.
Do you plan in rain dates, or these are the
So
dates?
no rain dates.
Okay.
And is the music going to be in the sanctuary or?
Yeah, so we'll have bands in the sanctuary from 7 to 9, and then from 6 to 7, the theater is going to be doing improv on their stage.
Okay.
So they'll be, right?
No, we were doing the stage in the park.
Yeah, the stage is going to be in
Sanctuary
the.
is going to be the kids' events, or the kids.
Yeah, and then the theater is doing.
Yeah.
Their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just said bands in the sanctuary.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so there's constantly going to be entertainment happening throughout the night in different spaces, and then the artisan market is going to be going for the full length of it as well.
And the CDC area is going to be open. I know for some events it was you had to kind of pay to get in because of the food. For certain Wakefield Village Association events,
Yeah, so
when
it'll be
Ken was kind of
open.
heading it up with
that'll
this.
be all open.
That's going to be open and
Yeah.
available.
Yes.
Tim. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anybody else like to make any comments or questions? Or anything
If
else?
I may,
Yeah, please.
Just, there was also the discussion about alcohol, which will not be in the park because the CTC has their own liquor license, so that will be contained to the CTC property.
Yeah.
And we did talk about the stage. WVA would be responsible for providing their own stage within the park for any entertainment.
And-
And all of the usual certificates of insurance.
Yeah.
If they anticipate that they will exceed a certain amount of people that will attend, that there's the potential for needing a mass gathering permit through the town, which is not a heavy lift, you just have to go through the process, and crowd control, certified crowd control measures, which again is something that is not difficult to obtain, just to be on the safe side and make sure everything's covered. And traffic detail, if it's necessary on High Street, those are the things that they'll need to consider depending on.
And are there going to be portable toilets set up on the park side? I know we have our comfort station, which I assume would be open and available, but if it's really successful, people are going to need to pee. So, is there a plan in place for that?
Yes, now there is.
Well, I'm just wondering because
we were going to rely on the comfort station.
Yeah.
But I can see what you mean that.
well,
It's
I'm just thinking. I mean, if you have people spread out to that capacity and
Yeah.
food trucks, and it to be as successful as you want it to be, I would imagine that there's going to be an element of restroom facilities that would most likely exceed just the simple one each of the comfort
The
stations.
CTC too has restrooms.
Yeah, they
but I
have
don't
their
know.
restrooms
Yeah.
that are typically open during River
So-
Fire.
Again, that's not something that we have to decide now. I
No.
just wanted to
Yeah.
bring up the topic.
I
John,
mean,
No,
it's a
in
great
trash.
point.
in chat, yeah.
Yep.
Trash,
But-
yeah, definitely.
And just to be clear, there's no charge, right?
Yep, it's a free event for the community.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's just the rain plan concern. But yeah, I think some of these details can get
Yeah.
figured out.
Yeah, we decided not to go with the rain date just because with so many vendors, that's just not really something that
Tonight.
that artisan.
No, you just gotta go for it.
vendors do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We had a parade in torrential downpour
Yeah.
rain, and
Yeah.
it
Yep.
will work just fine. Yeah, I
Um,
exaggerate. But
I do want to make a comment that we would definitely like to see, increased use of Saugatucket Park following the improvements. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but, the town is discussing, what to do with the Wakefield school site. And there's a lot of options out there, and that the Recreation Commission has supported the idea of possibly even incorporating, more of that space into our park as a central hub for the townsfolk to get together for things like this. And I think it could really showcase what Saugatucket Park could be. Especially with the fact that now a lot of the vegetation down towards the river has been cleared. There's going to be improvements to the river walk going on and out on the other side. So I'm just really excited about it. I think it's a great thing, and I think that once the attendees see the potential of this site through events like this, you could really showcase what we're trying to get behind of kind of having a central park, really robust park to hold larger events, because this is kind of like the only spot for that.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah. And we as an organization, personally, we would really love to be able to get behind you guys
Yeah.
for that as well. Like
Yeah.
both Sarah and I personally would love to see the elementary school property become part of the park as well.
I mean, we obviously want to advocate for affordable housing and the housing needs,
Yeah.
and we understand all of that, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity with a parcel that the town has to decide what to do with. So
Yeah. And unfortunately, we put out some feelers as an organization to more of our members to see if other members would get behind that. So the WVA could be like, hey, we support the Parks and Rec District to keep this as a park. But unfortunately, the only people that did respond to it were in favor of putting housing there. So
Yeah, which
we
is
can't
okay
have
too.
a
Yeah.
unified front in that respect.
Okay. Anything else before we put this to a motion, Joanne?
I think it sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Thanks.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and make a motion with the contingencies that you continue to work with Rex and Terry on some of the details in terms of, where the truck should go in place of rain, and making sure it's safe, and suitable for Rex in particular with the grass. And, contingency for perhaps some, porta-johns or things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
we
think
could-
that some of those details still have to be ironed out, but I'm in full support and would make a motion to approve.
Okay. I will second that motion.
All right.
May I, just
Sure,
make
go
sure
ahead.
the motion's, thorough, because
Sure.
it's approving the special use and the fee waiver?
And the fee waiver.
Okay.
And the
Yes,
fee
I'm
waiver.
sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, motion by Joanne to approve Wakefield Village Association's request for a special use permit and fee waiver for the dates as mentioned for Saugatucket Park. Second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so moved. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Doing all this.
hopefully
Yeah.
pray for sunny skies and
Yeah.
weather, and
Hurricanes.
thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
All right.
We'll see you there on
Yeah.
June 19th.
We'll see you there.
Good advertising.
Or you can talk with us, because because I know June is coming up quickly,
Yes.
so we'll be sure to get that.
Great, thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night. Thank you. Okay, guys, we're bouncing around a little bit. That actually knocked out the second correspondence and public comment, which was an email from the Wakefield Village Association requesting their facility rental fee waiver. So at this point, we're going to move to item number 5, which is our monthly financial report.
Yes, just briefly, I will run through the financial report for the month of March. We're a little behind in where we'd want to be right now with our programming revenue. Part of that is due to the deferred revenue piece that we have with our new software. So there's revenue that we've taken in for programming that hasn't hit yet because the programs haven't started. For instance, the softball league has not begun yet. It begins next week? This week, it begins this week.
Tonight.
Oh, tonight, it
Yeah.
begins tonight. So, every team, it's $1,100, right,
Mhm.
for a registration for every team that's in the softball league. So normally, or in previous years, when we bring in our revenue, it automatically hits and we see it right away. So there is a little bit of a delay because now we are deferring until the program actually begins, and then the revenue is realized as program revenue. So,
Is that just how it's working in the new system?
that's correct.
But it's in reality, the monies have been received for the programming,
Correct.
and
They have, now, I can't guarantee you that we're at where we wanna be at this point, but a significant amount of this 7%, 7.6% is because we have money in the holding pattern. I was going to include it in the report, but we have to get through one full cycle of Civic Rec, and then we'll be comparing apples to apples, when we start the new, when we start in December, because that's when we started with Civic Rec, right? But, overall, we're doing well with programming. And we have our softball league starting, our tennis league starting. Lenka will get into that a little more on the rec division reports. We have a significant uptick in our music program. The Knapp School has taken on new music instructors, and there seems to be this new life with the Knapp School, which is really great. We love to see it, and you can see it reflected in the revenue, where we've exceeded our revenue for the music program. Same thing with the front desk revenue is already at 149%, and Lenka, you have to help me with this one, because I know that's our guild rental fees, so all of the room rentals are applied to that revenue account. Drop-in programs, toddler time, I don't know if they hit front desk or not, but
No.
the
so
guild
Lenka,
is
that's
ver-
up significantly, 50%.
is very busy.
Is
A
there
big chunk of it's URI wrestling. They rent the gym from us
Something
during their
that's it,
club
yeah.
season.
that
Brings in a
was
lot.
didn't happen last year?
No, they've been, but they ramp up, and then I've had a lot of HOA meetings as well.
Okay.
That is in an uptick.
Yeah, the guild has been very busy. So those are our star accounts on the program side.
Well, the music thing is great. I mean, that's a big number. So yeah.
It really is, and I think, it seems like we have a very youthful music faculty too. Not that, we're not discriminatory in any way, but
Longevity.
I think there's a niceness to that in terms of connections being made with younger students, and so that's going well. And we will see our trip program start before the end of this fiscal year, so we're glad to get that back going. Chloe, who is our new rec supervisor and marketing person, will be developing 1 or 2 trips before the end of the year.
Hopeful
One,
for 2, but
Okay.
goal is 1.
right, okay. So, we've been waiting to get that day trip program back in the, in the cycle here. And, we did just award a bid for a busing company. to get that moving. So, that's where we are at with our programming revenue. On the facility side, we're just a little bit lower than we were last year, just under 2%. The boat mooring fees will pick up definitely this month. I know that's been active, and we should start to see, with the warmer weather coming in, our town beach revenue will start to pick up as well, with our beach pass sales. Otherwise, also our rec center rental income, you'll see that we've had a banner year as well. We're at 146% of what we were budgeted. We have a lot of interest from AAU programs that use the facility later in the evening. So we try to be very careful about balancing the availability of use of the rec center for the public, for our residents, versus basketball programs that are pay to play. But they don't mind using the gym at 9 o'clock at night, and generally speaking, the public is not doing that. So, and I have to say, Steve Grunberg, our rec center manager, is doing a phenomenal job with making sure he captures all the rental revenue we can without hurting the opportunity for the public to come in and use the rec center. So, anyway.
Which is great, because it's 7:15 at night. We see people coming and going right now, right behind you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Busy place.
Yeah.
Place. And park rental, you'll see that tick up. I'm certain that we will hit our budgeted park rental income.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the expense side, we are at, let's see, I'm sorry, I skipped the outside revenue funds. You'll see we have gotten an influx for the Guild Trust Fund income, so we're at 75%. We have one more quarter for that, and we will realize all of the budgeted Guild Trust Fund revenue, which is very important. And otherwise, doing quite well still on investment income. Not sure when that we may see a dip in that, but we're gonna ride that wave until we can't ride it anymore.
We'll look at next month's financial.
Next month might
exactly.
take care of it.
Yeah, but we've been fortunate for the last several years
Yes, we have.
with the investment income. And then on our expenditure side, we are up almost 15% over last year, but that a couple of reasons is because we're at full staff. Last year we had vacant positions that were left vacant for quite a long time. So we're not out of the realm of where we should be on each of these funds. The general fund, we're at 65%, and that's with only 3 months of the year left, so we're fine there. Same thing with the Guild, PDOB, and the rec center. So I did a quick projection for year-end projection to see where we will be, and we will be fine. And what I am hoping is that we can potentially request of the town manager and town council to be able to potentially move some of the year-end surplus into either capital projects or something like that, so that we can keep moving with the projects that we have going on. But we're financially we're in good shape. We're just gonna keep on working at it. And then the Friends program did have some activity, which you can see on that last page. The Nature Center received a $1,000 grant. This is the second year of that, and that comes from the South County Kingston Hill Gardeners. And they put that towards our environmental education programs. And what we do with that is Joyce from Joyce's Jungle will use that for gardening classes and programs for children. She's done that already once, right? She's expended the some of the first grant, but it's a free program. There's no charge to the kids that take the program, because it's entirely funded by the Kingston Hill Gardeners Association. So we're fortunate, very fortunate there. Another $835 was deposited into the program scholarship, and that was in memory of Dottie Records, who was the long-term teacher at Stepping Stone Preschool, and we are still getting donations in her memory, so
that's
quite
Oh,
a
nice.
testament to the person that she was, and we hope to be able to use those funds, obviously, to issue scholarships.
Scholarships.
For families who need them. Spent a little bit out of the bench and tree program. That's a revolving one. Rex does a good job working with donors to identify sites for benches. We have paused the tree program because there's been difficulty with ensuring that trees can be maintained over the years, and so right now it's primarily the bench program. And I think that's it.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Is there an update on the half pipe at the skate park? Were they just waiting to raise enough money before they started, or do you know?
They're still raising funds, I know that. Rex has been in touch with the group who is fundraising. I don't have an update as of this point, but
I'm just curious.
we have, just let me check this. Yes, so you can see in the skate park account, the $14,835, which is the year-to-date revenue, that is for the Trevor Stoutenberg half-pipe project. So it'll be there until we have enough, and then we'll get the project on, so. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Would anyone like to make a motion to move the monthly financial report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Joanne,
I'll second.
second by Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Move on to item 6, which is a capital project status update for Old Mountain Field.
We're very excited to see that there is activity at the park in terms of dropping off materials to get the site laid out with erosion control and safety fencing. E.W. Berman is the contractor, and they've started to make deliveries of those materials for the park. You know, it should go without saying, but I am going to say it. The plan will have some impact on parking, particularly in the upper lot. The intent is to be able to cordon off or fence off the construction area and still have accessibility to the skate park, to the upper area, but it will be a narrower access point at that, once they have the fencing up. You know, there's gonna be inconveniences, but it shouldn't stop us from being able to allow for baseball games, softball games, the skate park being used, the courts being used. People will have to park on the road and park in the lower lots, so we'll, you know, we'll be putting out a public notice so that people are aware that there will be some inconveniences at the park, but you know, we wanna get this type of project done, because there's no way around that. So, for the short term,
Yeah.
we feel a little pain for a better product in the end. So, we're excited to get that going, and, we're in the process of securing an amendment to the, engineer's contract, Beta Group Inc., that is Randy Collins, who is the landscape architect and engineer on the project, so that Beta Group can do the construction management for the project, which is very important. We wanna make sure that there's obviously eyes on the project, and, so we're closing that loop at the next council meeting with a recommendation for, an amendment of contract to keep them on board. Otherwise, it's just a very exciting
Great.
time.
The Waves know that this is
Yes, the
happening? Have they
Waves-
voiced any concerns?
The
or-
Waves are aware. Rex and I met with the Waves representative just last week, and so they know, but they're
Oh, I'm
of
sure they're
all-
excited.
Right,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
very excited to know that there'll be significant upgrades that will make it that much more attractive to visitors and residents to come and see a Waves game in summertime. So, yeah, definitely.
That's great.
Hopefully all the people will be able to see that whatever inconvenience they feel will be offset by an exciting new park
I
coming
think
their
so.
way.
I think
so too.
Okay,
Let's see.
great. We're done with old business, and we knocked out new business items A and B. And new business item C is a discussion of overdue facility rental fees, and specifically pertaining to Anchor Sports. There's a couple invoices included in our packet from Anchor Sports, Josh Rosen, DBA, Anchor Sports, 217 Church Street, for baseball camps in 2023.
Yes, so the reason this item is on the agenda is to really just make the commission aware that we'll be taking next steps in order to recoup these funds. We've made every effort. We did have some other outstanding accounts until just recently that we closed out those accounts, that they paid in full. We just have this one outstanding.
And I know you have a very talented staff member who is very good.
Yes,
at
we
this.
do have our senior account clerk who has made great
Yeah.
strides in collections, so to speak. But the fact of the matter is, we can't, it's not fair to the other organizations that rent our facilities for others to get permitted, use it, and then not pay for it. And you see what our rental revenue budget is. It's not a lot. It's under $40,000. That's what we project, mostly year over year. It fluctuates a little bit, but we're not charging a lot. But that money helps us to take care of these fields. And, we don't think it's unreasonable for folks who use the field to be able to pay for their use. Particularly a business that collects from their customers.
Right.
So
Are
we're
they still in
working on that.
business?
As far as I know, we're working on this, and we will be referring it to the finance department for collections. And it really is to just bring it to your attention that on occasion, we have these items that come up, and we do our best to, get it taken care of. But this one has been two years in the making, and so we're moving it over to the legal side for collection. And until then, that obviously that account is flagged and will not be permitted to utilize the facilities. And we will go back and look at policy, so that the commission, if you see fit, may amend a policy. Even though we follow policy pretty closely, there are some instances where we want to work with customers to be able to allow them to use the field, and there are times when the payment comes after the field use. But clearly this is, we may not be able to do that anymore because
Right. Well, especially this was not a nonprofit. This is a for-profit entity that was running a camp, presumably collected all the money from the campers.
presumably, yes.
So the total on this one is $1,440. Is that, and just refresh my memory on the policy, do we have any interest or late payment aspect to our collections for outstanding?
No, we don't have a late fee.
Yeah.
The policy basically is, now you're paying for your rental up front.
Right, up front. So that kind of takes care of
it.
it.
50%, 50% before to hold the field, and then by the date of the rental.
The commencement,
Yes.
it's paid in full, yeah. So that kind of prevents us from even having to have a late fee policy or any interest on outstanding,
right.
receivables, because of the fact that moving forward, we're gonna be fully paid or they don't use the facility.
Correct.
Okay.
And Civic Rec now has made that easier because they can pay online.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They apply online for certain facilities. Some facilities, they still have to come through us for an approval first.
Yeah.
For the facilities that do not require that, they have to pay online or they don't get a permit issued.
Yeah.
So, we're tightening it up, but I did want to bring this to your attention and let you know that we are, we'll continue to work on it and it will go to the finance department.
I'm under the impression, and I could be wrong, I'm under the impression that they are no longer in business. I don't know if that matters.
Well, it may, because if, they're dissolved and maybe chasing
Okay.
nothing, I don't know, but.
We'll look into it.
Yeah. Anyways,
To make sure.
good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you, Terry.
That's good you're pursuing it.
New business item D is a proposed amendment to the memorandum of understanding with the Ocean State Waves to charge to change the rental payment schedule from 2 regular payments to 4 regular payments per year.
So, in this instance, the Rec Commission has a specific memorandum of understanding with the Ocean State Waves for their use of Old Mountain Field. The current MOU runs through 2026. And in speaking with the Waves representative, one of the challenges for the Waves is that they charge for their games, but it's very rare, I think, that there's no fence. They don't go through a gate, and so they don't really make a lot of money on ticket sales, but they do have sponsors. And so their request was to be able to pay for the field rentals and on a quarterly basis for when they use the field. So we have them recommending once a month. So May, June, July, and August, or did I say July? I'm just trying to.
You did
May,
May,
June,
June,
July, and
July,
August.
And their
At the end
season
of the
runs
month,
that
end of those months.
through that, through the summer. So as long as it's paid to us in the fiscal year that it's due, we can manage that. But it is a change to the MOU. It's an amendment, and so I'm bringing it to your attention to consider that. We can work with that. So,
It seems
Has there been
reasonable.
any kind of history of issues or trouble with them paying the 50% the way it has been?
yes. So they need a little.
So there
time
has
to
been a history of
generate
issues.
Sponsorships and the like.
So they have had some difficulty paying that on time,
They've paid.
but they've paid. Yeah,
They're paid up.
they're paid up. Yeah.
So it just makes it a little easier for them, spreads it out
Yes.
further. I don't see any problem with that.
Is it time to make a motion? Is that what we need, a motion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in support of it. I just want to say,
I as
Need a
well.
motion.
I understand, that, their margins are slim and, if this is how their money flows into them and they need the leeway with us, I think it's a good relationship that we have with the Waves, vice versa too with the town. So there's benefits on both sides. So I'm also in support of allowing them to spread it out. Obviously, from our new business item C, we don't want to go down the road
But
of
that's
ever
ever
having.
This is 2 very different things here.
They are.
Between item C and item D here,
Yeah.
right? Like this is,
This is a customer who's in good standing.
Yeah.
right. And
So-
it's-
So I am in support of allowing the MOU to be amended as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Motion by Joanne,
I'll second that.
second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay. New business item E is a note on the summer concert series at the town beach and the formation of a volunteer working group recommendation for the members of the volunteer working group.
Yes, that's correct. Just to refresh your memory, memories. We have already scheduled 3 concerts for the town beach this summer. There was a recommendation and request at the level of the town council to consider as a summer concert series at the town beach. So we thought a 3 concert series was good to kind of start and test the waters, so to speak. And part of that would be to have a volunteer working group to assist with sponsorship dollars, fundraising, because this is not, these are going to be free to the public, these concerts. And so it does cost money to hire bands and sound people. And so that's one of the big focuses that our working group would be involved with, along with on the day of the event to be able to assist with crowd control and setup and breakdown and general, kind of elevate the excitement level. They help with promotions. And so we did put out an application online, and we received 6 applications. It's Kayla Jones, Lindsay Hart, Jay Wedgemont, Joan McCooey, Chris Brangie, and Emily Burns have all applied. There is one person who is a Charlestown resident, not a South Kingstown resident, who is interested, but they live very close to the Matunic area, I guess. So we can get started with the working group. I think sooner than later is good for us, and just wanted to put it before the commission to make sure there were no concerns or objections to us moving forward with this group.
Sounds like a great idea.
Great.
All right, we'll make a motion.
All right. A motion by John to approve the volunteer working group recommendation list.
I'll second that.
Second by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, on to item 8, division reports. So we'll start with should we just do Rex's first, the park division?
Sure. Let me just get to it here. Sorry.
We'll let Lenka go last. Cap this meeting up.
Rex and his team still short-staffed, but they, as always, are doing a phenomenal job keeping a lot of balls in the air. The Riverwalk fence repair project, you'll see that that's still underway. It is a bit behind schedule. The contractor that we have hired, I don't know if you saw it in the news, very tragic thing. They had, I think, 3 of their employees were killed while installing some kind of guardrail in Massachusetts. It was a
I didn't hear that. It's
horrible
horrible.
thing, so they're a little bit backed up, I think, for obvious
Understandable.
reasons.
How
So he, the contractor's been in touch with Rex, and you certainly understand what's going on there. So that timeline has changed just a bit. The Wakefield School Playground, as a matter of fact, just yesterday, Saturday, our guys were, a parks crew was on site at the Wakefield Elementary School Playground, AKA the Nancy Brown Memorial Playground, and unloaded a full load of playground safety surfacing at the playground. There are some pieces of the playground structure that still need replacement, and as Rex points out in his report, we're getting pricing. It's not going to be little money, according to Jeff, who's our assistant park superintendent. Funding will have to come somewhere. Where it is not something that's in the parks budget, because it is a school playground.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be looking for other sources of funding. There is a balance in the Nancy Brown Playground Fund of a few $1,000s that probably will not be enough, but we'll be looking for maybe the school department or other sources of funding to try to get that play structure up to code.
So is that on our shoulders to secure that funding somehow, or is that the town council?
The town is aware. There are a number of you know, a number of folks that are very supportive of making sure that this playground gets up to snuff, so I don't.
Some who have visited us and
Yes.
talked about it, right?
Yes, yes.
They
So-
still have a little movement going to support that part?
I know they went in front of the town council as well after
Right.
they visited with us.
They did, that was several weeks ago.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Um,
or months.
So we'll be, and Rex may have this answer already, and I apologize. I don't, and he may have some
Yeah.
source.
Understand.
But anyway, we're moving to try to get that playground up to speed. The baseball field infield looks absolutely fabulous, and the Parks crew did an excellent job there. The high school has nothing but praise for the new work on the ball field. And we are purchasing a new scoreboard for Broad Rock softball field.
Exciting.
Is that $7,200 per, or is that of the total cost? If we're
Per.
gonna split it with high school,
That's the total cost.
Okay.
That's it, so, yeah. So we do have a commitment from, I think it's not the boosters, I think it's the athletic department budget, to be able to do that.
And from the assistant superintendent report, you know, I see that we're also sort of maintaining the playground at South Road School, correct?
That's correct.
We're sort of
That's correct.
handling the
We are.
that one as well. Okay,
Yeah. They have to be safe,
that's right.
so.
And is that another one that necessitates, you know,
I would have to.
budgetary?
I'm not certain where, I
Yeah.
think there is a fund, a South Road School
Okay.
maintenance fund that has been used for general maintenance of the vacant building
Mm-hmm.
that, has been utilized for certain things for that playground, but I will confirm that.
Yeah, because I know the town will tap in, the school department or other departments will tap into our resources for labor, really.
Yeah.
But I guess when it starts coming to expenditures and equipment and materials, that's sort of a little above and beyond
That's correct.
what we
Right.
or don't what we are not budgeted for, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions on the parks report?
No. Finally, we have Lenka to tell us about the rec division.
So in
All
March,
this stuff.
we launched our camp registration on our new site, and I cannot emphasize enough how beautiful it worked.
Oh, wonderful. That's
The
great news.
hours I saved and my team of combing through transactions and finding out the duplicates and working with RecPro and finance, and we had some feedback online of how easy it was, and how it was. We had people in line on the day of camps were full by the time they got up to us. So it worked so quickly, it was worth every penny.
Oh, good.
That's great.
That's good to hear.
Are we
Yeah.
totally off of Rec Pro at this point, or are we still transitioning to a certain extent?
I
Anything?
would say 99% fully off.
Yeah.
We still have Rec Pro, we can go back and call data and
Yeah.
reports and things like that for now.
For a certain overlapping period.
Correct,
Okay.
but we're not in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form using it for transactions or reservations.
Right.
So it's been a breath of fresh air for our department as well as the public. I received feedback of how easy it is to use once we explain how to use it. But the rest of the month we've spent ramping up our hirings for Discovery Camp, Beach, and Softball, which as young league started this week, with the men's league starting tonight. Right now we are looking good as far as hirings are going. We're still very early on in the season and still very much in prep mode, but we have a number of commitments that we are hopeful will show up day one. And then you see an uptick a little bit in our social media activity. Our new coordinator, she's done a great job interacting with what the public needs to see and promoting our programs so that we're reaching a broader demographic, not just promoting on, when it's upcoming, getting ahead of it, making announcements, scheduling posts even over the weekend. which is what we've been missing. So that's been nice to see that activity as well. And then overall, our programs, I'm still tweaking how the report is looking given our new software. It's consistent with our numbers as well as our turnout for a number of programs, considering we're still in the spring. So I think we're gonna see an uptick as we move towards nicer weather. Bless you.
Bless you.
Any questions?
No, great job, looking good. It's programming, I mean, when you see it all spelled out like this, you're like, wow. Yep, a lot going on. Okay. Thanks, Lenka.
Make a motion to approve the division reports.
All right, John, Joanne beat you to it. Motion by Joanne to approve the division reports. Second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, guys. The next meeting of the Recreation Commission is scheduled for Monday, May 19th at 6:30 p.m. back at the Guild this time. And unless there's any further discussion on the record tonight, we're ready for Sean Johnson to make a motion to adjourn
Make a
the
motion to
meeting.
adjourn.
Motion by Sean,
All right. I'll second that.
second by Joanne. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, guys, we're all done. 7:42. Thank you.